Hello again. We're doing a lesson on geometric series. Basically, this is the formula for a geometric sequence if you want to find any particular term. Series means when you add them all up together, and here's the formula. S sub n, where you're trying to figure out, the sum of, like, if you're trying to figure out the sum of 10, that's the first 10 terms, equals the first term times 1 minus the common ratio to the nth power, or how many terms there are, divided by 1 minus r. And there's a stipulation behind that. R cannot be equal to 1. For two reasons. One, if r is 1, the denominator is 0, and 2, if your common ratio is r, that means you're multiplying by 1 to get to the next term. Okay, here's my geometric sequence. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. No, you're multiplying by a number that's not 1. Otherwise, that's called boring. It's not called a sequence. So, yeah. So I have this example where I have this series where the first term, a of 1, is 2, and the common ratio is 2. That means I keep multiplying by 2, and my first term was 2, and I want to figure out the first 10 terms. So, like, if I take 2 and its next term, and its next term, and its next term, 10 numbers, and I add them up, what's the answer? Some people would say, well, I'm just going to write it out because that's much easier. Well, I suppose you could do that, but I'm going to go ahead and use this formula right here, and I don't know if it's necessarily much easier. Now, you're trying to find the first 10 terms, and people say, well, how do you know it's the first 10 terms? Because there's 10 terms. It says n equals 10. There's 10 terms. So, sum of 10, or series of 10, pardon me, equals a sub 1. A sub 1 is 2, times 1 minus 2 to the 10th, over 1 minus 2. I'm ashamed to say that I actually don't know what 2 to the 10th power is off the top of my head. Well, actually, maybe I do. 1024. So, S of 10 equals 2 times 1 minus 1024 over negative 1. Whew. I really gotta check these problems before I try them. Otherwise, I could be stuck trying to figure it out. S of 10 equals, now 1 minus 1024 is negative 1023. And I'll go ahead and write it out. Over negative 1. Negative divided by negative is positive, and 1023 times 2 is 2046. So if I add up all these numbers together, good as anything to me, S of 10 equals this. I didn't have room. Well, no, I don't really have room. So S of 10 equals 2046. If I add up the first 10 terms, I got 2046. Let me just make sure that's right. 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512. Yeah, it is 1024, negative 1023 times 2 is 2040. Yeah, perfect. So the first 10 terms is 2046 when I add them up. Pretty cool, pretty cut and dry. If you don't believe me and you actually want to try it without using a formula, you're more than welcome to. The first term is 2. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. And actually, all of these should be plus signs because it's a series. My mistake. So if you add up all of these together, you should get 2046 as long as my calculations were correct. If you don't believe me, go ahead and try. The ratio is 2, which means the common ratio is 2, which means you're multiplying by 2 to get to the next term. So that's 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 10, 24. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, there you go. So with that said, you add up all those numbers, the first 10, and you should get 2046, like I said, unless my math was messed up, which I doubt very much that it was. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Have a good day for now. Goodbye.